Time to read now.
No.
It hates everything.
I think there's no fly in the kitchen.
You're right.
They took me to psychiatrist, so I was just.
He's gonna get you.
What is it? He had to go to a psychiatrist for. They were bringing. Said he had all these pictures from the black.
He's gonna get my baby!
And so I was his class. They said you can meet the
Where's she at?
psychiatrist. And I said, okay. I'm gonna talk to her.
Go get her!
Oh, no.
Go get her!
Where'd she go? Oh, she disappeared, buddy.
Go get her! Go
Where's
get
she
her!
at? Where's she at?
Because all the big guys steal my
Oh,
friends.
Mama, you shouldn't be doing
I'm
that.
only
As
left
simple as that. Oh, that is just, isn't that something?
Yeah, and they were gonna send him to a psychiatrist.
No, don't talk. I'm gonna film you for a second. Say hi.
I can't believe that. That's
Yeah, and so they stopped it, and he didn't go to
Look
jail.
out.
And then they were gonna
That
take
scream.
Eric.
It's real good, but he's not doing it now for some
Derek,
reason or other.
Papa
I
dance!
can't believe you're doing it, Pop.
Papa dance!
Okay, there he goes!
Papa dance!
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.
Papa dance! Do, 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 do.
Too close.
Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do.
Now your turn, Derek.
Dee, 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 dee. You gonna do it, Derek? Dee, dee, dee,
Papa
dee,
dance.
dee, dee, dee. Do, 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 do. Dee, 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 dee. All right! Look at that.
Oh!
Wow!
That was an interesting
Did you
move.
hurt the table? Hey! Yay! Yay! All right. Is you ready?
It's on,
now?
yeah.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. We'll start when it was born.
Were you born?
Yeah, I wasn't
Which
hatched.
time you were?
I was definitely not hatched. September 17th, 1928 was the great day. And a few seconds before I was actually born, God said to us all, September 17th, or so you know, who were about to be born, He said, "Okay, guys, I want you to listen up here. This is kind of important." So he said, "Who would like to be born intelligent?" And wow, my hand went up just like that. And he says, "Doop," he pointed at me, he says, "Well," he says, "you're going to be intelligent as all get out." And next he said, "Who wants to be really handsome?" Oh, boy, that hand up. He said, "Boy, you're fast." And I said, "Yeah, I figured, what the heck? If I'm intelligent, I might as well be handsome too." Then he he showed the other guys, they got lower degrees of intelligence all the way down the line. He passed it all out. And he said, "Who'd like to have fast reflexes?" Boom! I got poked at my mom's tummy, and she probably wondered what the hell was going on in there. But it was a conversation with God that had to be done, see? So I didn't want to, goof things up too bad, so I got a little poke. Then he said, "Now, I want you to be real careful on this next one." He said, "You really got to think on this one." He says, "It's going to be a combination. Humble and modesty." I was up there like it was fast reflexes that I had, see.
Sounds like
So
you
he
got
says,
to
"Ed," yeah, he says, right away, he knows what we call Ed. He knew, God knows everything. So he says, "Ed," he said, "what a great combination." He said, "You're not only going to be good looking, smart and intelligent, humble and modest, fastest reflexes in town." He said, "Boy, you've been out in the front all the way." So I said, "Well, I like that kind of stuff, you know, I like being handsome, you know. He says, but, you know, there's a price to pay for all these things, you know. And I didn't realize what he was talking about until I got a little bit older. I found out that sometimes it can be maybe a curse to be so good looking and intelligent, you know. But to finish up, he wasn't done with us yet, see. This is a few minutes before we were all actually born. Just seconds. He said, Charming, did you see how quick that hand went up? Bam, right up. He says, you're it. You got charm coming out your ears. You got about 10 pounds of charm you're going to have to ever use. You're loaded with charm. And I figured, well, you know, I've got it all now. What else do I need? Charm. He threw in a little bit of debonair also. I said, hey, I'll take some of the debonair too. Charm, good looking, you know, everything. I have it all. And I said, you know, God, I've been thinking about all these nice things you've given me. And in all humbleness and modesty, I really think I deserve all these things. And I sort of bowed my head a little bit. I deserve to be, you know, good looking and intelligent and everything. And so, bing, next thing I know, I'm born. New York City. And that was, I think, about 3 weeks or so. Real quick. My parents went out to see my grandmother and my grandfather in Los Angeles. And for some reason, I never did find out why. They left me there for about 2 years. Then came back and got me, brought me back to New York. I was back in New York just months, and then they brought me back to California again. And I had 3 aunts, Vi, Jewel, and May. And I had my Uncle Bill, Uncle Walt, and Uncle Ed. These are all my father's brothers, these 3 guys. And then my grandfather and my grandmother. And this time they left me with them, and they went back to New York. And I stayed in California for about 3 years. And my aunts taught me all the nice, good stuff. They dressed me like little Lord Fauntleroy, you know. And they taught me the magic words. The magic words. Derek has learned them already. Please, may I, and thank you. Those words just get you anything in this world. Especially if it's a woman you're asking or thanking. I knew where to get the goodies. I'd get down to the beach, and I would walk up to a beach party, and I would just stand there, and I would look at the people. See, this is me when I was 3. It's pretty hard to see. Maybe you can see me.
Yeah, you can see it.
I'm sitting on a boat, and
That's
I
the
got a goodie I'm sucking on there. It looks like a lollipop, not a lollipop, but an ice cream thing. And I got that by being charming, see, and you immediately get all the good stuff. And I stayed in California until I was about 6. And my aunts cried, my uncles cried. They didn't want me to go, but the light went out.
I turned it off. It was too bright.
Oh, okay. They didn't want me to go, but I went, had to go back.
Do you
So they
remember?
brought me back
Do
to
you
New
remember
York.
this? You remember
Yeah.
being 6?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
When was your earliest memories? I mean, you don't remember when you were 2.
Not too much earlier than that. No, I don't remember when I'm sort of
Yeah.
3 or
Yeah.
6. I do remember.
Like the beach when you were doing that ice cream?
No, I don't remember that. But my aunts told me,
Yeah.
you know, they knew, you know, that I knew all the tricks, how to charm my way into getting banana or an apple or a piece of candy or a goodie. You just get down the beach and stand near a big umbrella where people were all flocked around and just stand there and just look. And sure enough, every single time, without fail, if you had the right look on your face, suddenly you got something stuck out to you. And I just loved it.
And you started school in Los Angeles?
No.
No.
Started school in New York. Went to,
So you went back to New York again?
yeah, when I was 6.
Okay.
Bill didn't want me to go, Ed didn't want me to go, Walt didn't want me to go, Vi, Jewel, and May didn't want me to go.
You must have been a good kid.
I was good, they taught me all the good stuff, you know. And I went back, and it was a tough 9 years in my life. I really didn't like New York. We always lived on the top floor in these tenements, and by the time you climb up 8 stories, no elevators. It's a bummer. It's for the birds. But that was that. And I did that for the whole 9 years that I was there. When I was 15, my grandmother decided to go to New York and bring me back to California with her. And it's exactly what she did. When I was 15, she brought me from New York to California. And I was just super happy to get out of that place. I got left back in the 4th grade. Mother St. John, the nun, for some reason or other, she just didn't like me and I didn't like her. She bragged about how she come from a very wealthy family and how she gave it all up to become a nun and sacrifice herself for all us kids. But she was a bummer nun. I never will forget her. Always embarrassed me something awful. And
You always went to private Catholic school?
it was Catholic school, yeah. And anyway, I was glad to get out of there. Came back to California when I was 15 and went to Immaculate Conception School. Was it Immaculate Conception? I forget which one it was for sure. Anyway, it was fun. I liked California. I was 15, and when I was 17, I joined the Army Air Corps.
What year was this?
1945, 6,
Something like that.
1946, yeah. And it was just at the end of the Second World War, just around that time. And I went into the Army Air Corps, and by the time I got out, it was called the Army, it was called the Air Force. But when I went in, it was the Army Air Corps. It wasn't a separate entity yet. And I went in, and I went to basic training in Texas, San Antonio, Texas. And they told us they were going to turn us into aircraft engine mechanics. I thought that would be the greatest thing we're gonna be working on planes. So they popped us on a train and brought us to Denver, to Lowry Field in Denver, Colorado. And we all got off. They herded us into the barracks, and the next day they brought us into a great big classroom. There were about 40 of us. We all figured we were gonna be working on those planes any second now. Most of us were all just about 17, 18, 19, right around in there. We're gonna be working on those planes any time now. And I thought that was great, you know. What we do in the classroom, why are they bringing us in here? How come they're not bringing us out to work on the engines and stuff, you know? They're gonna turn us into aircraft engine mechanics. So, in comes an instructor, and he said, gentlemen, he said, I want you, we were sitting at desks, I want you to all cup your hands and reach down and pull up. Well, we all cupped our hands, reached down, pull up, and it swiveled up, and out came a typewriter. And we all looked at each other, we wondered what this typewriter thing is. It ain't a box of tools. So, he said, gentlemen, in 12 weeks, you will be typing 70 words a minute. You're going to be finance clerk typists. I can't tell you
The
the
disappointment.
noise that went on in that place. And when he finally got everybody quiet, he says, and if you don't like that, and sounds like you don't like it, you can always go to Cook and Baker School. And he said, most of the time you'll be washing pots and pans. And so, we grumbled and, you know, it was just awful. But I didn't want to be a pot washer. So we got aced out of being mechanics. So sure enough, 12 weeks later, I typed 70 words a minute. Next thing I know, they got me on a troop ship heading for Japan. We went from here to Hawaii, Hawaii to Guam, Guam to Manila in the Philippines, and how much time you got on this thing?
Oh, I think we got a lot of time. I'm more concerned about the battery than the time, but I charged it, so
Oh.
we should be okay. But
Anyway, they
I
got
can
us
always
into
plug
the
it in if we
Philippines.
run out of battery.
And before we got to, when we were in Guam, they let us get off the ship to go swimming. So we jump off or go down a rope ladder to go, you know, to get in the water. And I noticed some of the Navy guys, and it was Marines, on an upper deck, and they were all armed. And what we didn't know was there were sharks in the water. So they were up there to shoot the sharks if they came anywhere near us. And sure than heck, you hear, and then they got on the megaphone and told us to get the heck out of the water. We got out of the water, and a great big monster, must have been, looked to me like about 20 feet long. You see sort of the tail of it swimming by, and by that time we were all up. And then we saw the rest of them coming in. But there was nothing there when we first went in the water. I guess we made so much noise, we attracted them. Who knows? But the Navy guys up there, they knew that might possibly happen. So that's why they were shooting at them and yelling for us to get out of the water. Anyway, we got out and we left Guam, then we went to the Philippines, to Manila. And when we got to Manila, they issued us sidearm 45 and either a carbine, M1 carbine, or a grease gun. Grease gun, we call them grease guns. They were a fully automatic 45 caliber a machine gun. That's actually what it was. It was fully automatic. And I got the 45 and I got a grease gun. And they made me right on the spot a PFC. I was a private, and they made me PFC, and I had 8 guys, 8 privates like myself. Why they picked me to be PFC, I don't know, but they picked me. So I was a PFC in charge of the 8 guys, and they told us that there was a lot of Japanese that didn't think they wanted to quit. As far as they were concerned, the war was not over. They were still on the outskirts of Manila. So they sent us kids who only fired a weapon probably once in our life during basic training into the jungle on the outskirts of Manila to help push those Japanese back. And we got into the jungle and we were pushing forward, and we heard a little bit of noise ahead of us. Keep in mind, we're all 17, 18. The oldest was like 19. Never hardly got near guns, all of us. And we suddenly heard AGI, stand still. And suddenly we realized we were surrounded by Filipinos, not Japanese. They let us know right away, and they knew we were kids. They got us and they brought us into their camp. And we said, God, we were so quiet. How did you know we were there? And they said, we knew you were there, half a mile back. And I said, you knew? Dad, this is our home. We know. And they brought us into camp, and this really grossed some of the guys out. They wanted to share their dinner with us, you know. And this is kind of gross. They force-fed the dog. They force-feed him rice, and they wait a certain length of time until the rice becomes half digested. Then they kill the dog, and they slit open his stomach, and that was a delicacy. Not to us, but it was good stuff for them. And not one of us
Tried it.
wanted to join the party. We didn't want to join the party. We suddenly were not very hungry at all. But they told us that they also ate rat. So for 17, 18-year-olds, our eyes opened up real quick, you know. That's something we'd never even dreamed of, you know. And the wind-up is that they took over for us. They told us when to move, when not to move, because I didn't know nothing. None of the other guys knew nothing. But these Filipinos, it was their home, they knew. And they explained to us that we have to push the Japanese back to a certain point, because if they're too close, they can cause damage to Manila itself. And eventually, they would give up. But for right now, we have to force them back to a certain point, which we did in the next day and a half. And from there we got on the ship and went into Japan, and then got into Tokyo. We were at a field in a town called Tachikawa, about 20 miles or so north of Tokyo. There was an airfield. And there was so much chaos there. The guys who did, who were occupation troops, who did the fighting before us, we came along, we were going to be the occupation troops. They were there and they wanted out. They wanted back to the States. The job was done. They didn't want nothing more to do with it. They wanted out. There was so much turmoil there that nobody knew what was happening. And the disorganization was just amazing. And I did my first baddie. I spotted a Jeep. It had gas tanks and water, and it had C rations and K rations, food. And I decided I want to go for a little ride in this Jeep. Nobody knows from nothing. There's so much chaos you wouldn't believe. So I jumped in the Jeep and I took off by myself. And went from there down to the Fuji area, Mount Fuji area. And run into people on these mountainous roads that had never seen a white face before. When you're 17, you think you're invincible. Something happens to somebody else, but it never happens to you. Best soldiers in the world are 18-year-olds. They're fearless, most of them, because they don't think anything's going to happen to them. Yeah, it's because somebody else gets it. Anyway, that's the way I was. And I'm pulling into these little tiny towns, you know, up in the mountainous road, and I would stop and I'd look around. I made sure that my weapons were close at hand because I didn't know what I was going to run into. And at first, I'd see nobody, and pretty soon, little kids would come out. And they stood there, and they got closer and closer, and they touched the Jeep, and they felt all around, you know, little guys, you know, 6, 7, 8 years old, you know, but I didn't see any men, didn't see any women at first. Then I would see the mothers coming out, and they'd reach and they'd grab their little rascals, you know, and they would be looking at me, and I'm looking at them. And I got a little book, little translation book, and I think I said Ohio, that meant hello. And I tried to go through it, but I didn't want to take my eyes off either my weapons or what was going on around me, you know. Pretty soon I had quite a stack of women and little kids around me. See no men. And after a while, I decided I had enough of this, and I took off and told them to move back. They got out of my way, and I just took off the mountain, went to other little towns on the way up there, and there was one I got to. There's a bathhouse. This is about the second day. When I slept in the Jeep, and
I'm gonna stop it for a second.
yeah, it was the second day I was there, and I got to this bathhouse. I didn't know it was a bathhouse until I went inside.
What does a bathhouse mean?
Bathhouse, they got these
I mean, it's just for bathing? Like,
yeah, for bathing,
okay.
and I went in this one, and it was the first man I'd seen, and it was a really devastating experience for me to go through. He was on his knees in front of Shinto shrine they had in this bathhouse. And over in one side. And he was in the process of committing harikari, suicide. And when I walked in, I looked at him, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what it was called until later, until I got back to camp. But he was on his knees, he was dressed in a white kimono, and he had been killing himself with a knife in his intestines. And he looked at me and our eyes locked. And shortly he just slumped forward and fell. And it was a shock to me because I'd never seen anybody do anything like that. It was just a horror. So I got out of there and kept moving up the mountain, and I run into other people, and once they found that I wasn't shooting a gun at them, they came out, and it was a very interesting experience. Like I said, I was gone for 7 days, and after that, I went back to where I came from, and still the same chaos. Nobody knew I was gone. Guys were fighting to get their stuff out of there, loading stuff on trucks to get down to the troop transports that we came on to get back to the United States. And our guys, the occupation, were trying to find places where there was to stay, and there was still confusion. Everybody was mixed up. And I got back. Nobody even knew I was gone. And they had the chow halts going, and I got in the chow line, and in just minutes I found out that I wasn't missed. Nobody knew where I was gone. A couple of guys wondered where I was, but nobody of any authority, was looking for anybody. They had so much chaos going on there. So that was my introduction to Japan. I was there for about a year and a half. Based in Tachikawa, and then came back to the United States when I was 18, and decided that I wanted to go to college. I had saved up a little over $5,000. That was a lot of money then. A whole lot of money.
How'd you saved it up in the service?
Yeah. Gambling.
Ah.
And selling cigarettes.
And selling cigarettes. Yeah, I didn't smoke, so I sold cartons of cigarettes. And at the time, I could get 300 yen for a carton of cigarettes. And I wasn't an angel. Somehow or other, I wound up with blankets. And I could do pretty good with the blankets. I'd sell the blankets. So I did pretty good. But most of the money came from the gambling because I was gambling with kids my age.
Uh-huh. What kind of gambling?
Dice, cards. I never handled dice. And when I played cards, I was very cool. And the dice, I never touched them. I'd just do side betting. They didn't know odds from a hole in the ground.
Oh, before you go on, back in the Japan, one of the things I was wondering about is some of the stories behind. You have various jewelry stories, and isn't there a pearl necklace story?
Oh,
Back
that.
in
Oh,
Japan
yeah.
before?
Yeah. Oh, that was that necklace.
And I don't remember what it was, but I remembered something about the service.
Yes. After we were there for a few months, we could leave the base. We could leave the base, and on weekends, the guys got a chance to go to other parts of Japan. Once the Japanese found out that we didn't come there to rape and pillage and kill them and do all this bad stuff they'd been told that we were going to do, they opened up a little bit, and we could travel. So we'd go different places. I went to a place where they had pearl divers, and these pearl divers were women, and they wore little bottom things, but they had no tops. And 17-year-olds, boy, this was wild stuff. We never saw any of this in the United States. No, this was cool. So we found out that with this Japanese he developed a method of growing pearls in these oyster beds. They would dive down to the oysters, get them up, and they would implant a little pebble dipped in a caustic type solution that the pearls would want to cover, and that's how pearl comes. It's the oyster's method of
Irritating.
it was irritant, so it builds up what they call nacre, N-A-C-R-E, around that irritation, and this is how the pearl comes about. And I watched them go through their whole process. The girls would dive off the boats, go down, get the oysters and bring them up, and other girls were planting oysters down there, bringing oysters down. And they had a processing spot there where they would, when they opened up the oysters and they took out the pearl, they would grade them according to size and quality and who knows what else. And they had women doing that too, old girls swimming, doing that. And I bought a string of pearls that I was going to bring back for my grandmother. And I bought the pearls, and they were on silk, and I knew that the only place they'd be safe would be around my neck. And I put the pearls and I tied a knot in it, because if I just put the pearls in my footlocker, that's a little it's like a case about this big, about that wide, about that high, where you put all your stuff in, that they'd get stolen. And so I figured, they're not gonna steal them off my neck. But I can't tell you the kidding that I got when I went into the shower.
You couldn't see that you were wearing them when you had clothes on?
No,
So
because
it's just the shower.
you buttoned up, you have your tie on and stuff.
Okay.
Couldn't be seen, no. And unless I had an open shirt,
Yeah,
but most of the time you had your tie on. Because I worked in an office part time, and the other time I worked delivering mail in
This is in the States, or this is in the...
No, in Japan.
In Japan, okay.
In Tachikawa.
Yeah.
And anyway, I got the pearls and I put them on, and I had those pearls on for, it had to be almost a year. I got used to the kidding after a while.
Wow.
Because I didn't want them stolen. So
You were over there that long?
a year, yeah, about almost a year and a half. And then
Did you give them to your grandma?
yeah, I come back to the States, and I brought them into a jeweler, and I had them strung. And what they do is they tie a knot between each pearl, and so that if the strand breaks,
They don't all fall
they don't
off.
go all over. and I had that done, and I gave them to her. Anyway, most of my money that I saved up had been on gambling, on the sidelines. I put out ridiculous odds, and I just creamed them. These kids didn't know. Ate the hard way from a hole in the ground, and I did really good. I sent the money back, and before I left, just before it was time for us to leave, I went to a racetrack, horse track, and I bet on the horses, and I wound up with a ton of yen. You couldn't bring the yen back with you, and you couldn't cash the yen in for more money than you made in a month. So you were sort of stuck with it. You could sell it, you could sell it to your other guys, but they knew the spot you were in, and when you were leaving, you'd almost have to give it away because they knew you couldn't do anything with it. So I went to the chaplain and I told him that I got a bushel full of yen, and I told him I wanted him to do something good with it because I can't take it back with me, and I didn't want to give it to the bloodsuckers out there for nothing, you know. So I found that later what he did with the money. He put a boy through University of Tokyo University, with that stuff that I had run, and he wrote to me, the chaplain did, and told me what he did with the money and how we would take care of it and put him through school, this boy. He said he's a deserving kid, and he would write to me. He wrote to me.
The boy did.
He wrote to me about 3 or 4 times. By that time, I was in the United States then, and my mind was on anything but writing. I'd never been a good writer. I hated to write letters or stuff. And the wind-up is, I never did really. I think I wrote him a letter once. One letter I wrote back to him, and his letters had been translated. He brought them to the chaplain over there, and the chaplain translated his Japanese into English for me. And he would also write a little note beside it saying, "Thanks, Ed, you did this kid a good thing, you know," and all that stuff. And I got about 3 or 4 letters, and then I never answered, you know. And I guess they figured they didn't get the answer from me. I must have moved to something, but I never did.
Yeah.
Shame on me. I should have answered. It would have been nice. I fought through over the years to find out who that kid was, what he made out of his life, you know, what he did with this education, you know. It would have been fun. Anyway, I'm back to the United States now, and I'm out, and I'm going to Santa Monica City College in Santa Monica, and really having fun. I didn't have time to write to that guy. I was interested. I think I took a very big, heavy interest in girls at that time. Somewhere along the line, my Uncle Ed and we decided to go to these dances that they had. CYO dances, Catholic Youth Organization dances. They had them on Friday nights at most of the Catholic parishes around. And we'd go there and meet all kinds of gals. It was cool. I really liked that. And one time I went to one in LA, in Los Angeles, and I had been living at my grandmother's beach house, 439 Linney Canal in Venice. And we lived there, and she got a house in Los Angeles, and I left.
We're on.
You
So
rolling?
where do, yeah.
We left off, what is this? Today is, what, the 20,
Yeah, the
20th of March.
date's on the tape too.
March
today's the 21st?
20th.
The 20th,
First day of spring.
okay.
Oh, there you go.
We left off on the 5th of March, 2001.
Where did you leave off in your story?
I think I left off where I was gonna meet Patty.
Okay. Yeah, because you were talking about going to the dances.
Yeah, I used to go to those dances, the CYO dances. And this one night I go to the CYO dance, and I had my blue suit, my yellow knit tie, and my blue suede shoes. I was really cool. And I used to go to these dances, and I'd stand in the doorway, and I'd look over the crop, you know, check them all out, and I'd see one cute little doll with a bunch of guys hanging around, buzzing around like bees, and my MO, my modus operandi was to walk right over there, move myself in, and say, "This is our dance," and just take her right away. I loved to do that. That was kicks. The poor clown sitting around, I'm sure they were saying, why didn't I do that? Anyway, it wasn't fun. And but this time I didn't get a chance to do it. This little cute girl comes running up in a maroon suit. And she said, "I'm the welcoming committee for whatever." And I said, "Oh, I've been a member for years." And she said, "Oh, I didn't know. I said, "Oh, yeah, sure. I was lying to my teeth." And I figured, hey, let me give her a break. I'll dance, you know.
Give her a break.
So
Lucky
I was
chick.
dancing around with her a little bit, and I said, "Hey, this is not a bad. She's all right. That's a cute little honey. I think I'll take her home." And the next thing I know, I'm being interrogated. Her cousin, her niece, and her boyfriend at the time, Tom, he was an attorney, started interrogating me. Who am I? Where am I from? You know, what kind of car you got? They want to know everything about me. And I was kind of insulted, you know, because I've never been interrogated before. Just bring her home, you know, big deal. So I thought to myself, yeah, you know, do you think he was an important movie star or something, you know? But I tolerated the Inquisition, that's what it was. And I brought her home. And I said, you know, that's a pretty nice girl. I really like her, you know. So I didn't know whether I called her or waited till the next CYO meeting and got her again. But anyway, to make a long story short, I started going out with her. Well, that was the end of my fun and games, you know, as far as going around to all the CYO clubs with my Uncle Ed and picking up all these cute little girls, you know, and all that. So
Do you remember, Patty, do you remember the dance?
Oh, yes, I do.
I mean, that particular, you remember him asking you to dance? Or no?
I remember being very embarrassed because when I went up to him and said that I was in charge of the welcoming committee, he'd been going there for a long time. So I felt a little funny.
Anyway, make a long story short, we went together for a year and a half. Almost every night. Believe it or not.
Except for how you
Yeah.
know how many nights you didn't go
2
out.
nights.
Oh, 2 nights. It's just amazing, you know. We wanted to know for sure that what the other person was like. And in a year and a half, not missing a night, you get pretty good at figuring out the other person. Because I was basically come from the same background to some degree as she did. She didn't want to make any mistakes. I didn't either. So that's why it took so long.
You
Oh,
thought
fine,
he
sure.
would have known I was perfect, but he had
Well,
to seek out and find it.
anyway, that was 49 years ago? 49 years ago?
Maybe 50,
Maybe 50?
almost 50.
50, yeah, right. 50 years. And then we got married, and she was making $600 a month at the Thomas Mortgage Company. And
So this was 1950.
1953 when we got married.
Okay.
I think he married me for my money.
Yeah, I thought she was loaded, you know.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Then it was.
It was back then, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, what really happened was, I was about 5, and she said, "You want a piece of candy, little boy?" And she was doing that, and that's, you know, she robbed the cradle when she got me. Anyway,
Bad story.
I come home shortly after we were married, and I told her that I quit my job. We had a little apartment on Dillon Street in LA, yeah. And she said, "Fine." She said, "If you don't like it, don't do it. You know, do what you want to do. If you don't want to do nothing, that's okay too. I'm making enough money for both of us." And I said, "Wow, this is great. I'm going to be a kept man." Loved the idea of it. Anyway, I'd get jobs, and if the boss would just look at me wrong, bang, that's it. I was out the door. I quit. And this went on for about, I don't know, 4 years. And one day she said to me, as soon as a little something comes along, the fun and games are over. You got to get down to business then. And then Eddie came.
When did you buy your house?
Before he came.
1956.
A couple years after you were married?
Yeah, a couple of years after we married, we bought the house. And he was born in 56.
He was born in 56, and I
Yeah.
think 1955.
1955 we got
We
the
got
house.
married in 53. The house in 50.
55, yeah. And Eddie was born.
And did you know you were pregnant because you were sick? How
Right.
did you-
I passed out at work. And that's what told me, whoops.
Well, then and there, I knew the fun and games were over. That Ed killed it for me as
Ruined
far
all
as
your
being
fun.
a kept man is concerned. And it was so much fun. Over 4 years. Wasn't it over 4
We did,
years?
we had-
It was just great. Anyway, when the rascal came, I got serious and got down to business, and I went to work eventually for the pawnbroker that Patty used to babysit for. And as soon as I got in that pawn shop, and I worked just a few hours, I loved it. Just fell in love with that business. And it was Tucker Loan and Jewelry, and it was on Whittier and Arizona in East LA. And I worked for Sam for about maybe 11 years. And after that, went to work for a pawnbroker in Norwalk for about a year, and then went to work for ourselves. We opened up a pawn shop on Telegraph Road in Whittier, and we were there for 16 years.
Tell her how it started.
Yeah,
I think, who was it that was gonna have a pawn shop?
yeah. There was somebody else was wanted a pawn shop, and they took out a great big ad in the telephone book, and before they took the ad out, or after they took the ad out, then they went down to get their license, and the guy had a record. They found out he had a record, a felony record, and they wouldn't issue a license, a pawnbroker license to him. So here's this ad in the telephone book, and I phoned up Patty, and I'm looking through it. When I'm working for this other pawnbroker at Newark, I'm looking through the book, and I see this big ad. I says, "Wow, honey, somebody opened a pawn shop in our backyard." I said, "It's on Telegraph Road. Go check it out for me." I couldn't leave because I had to run the other pawn shop. So she went down, she checked it out, and she says, "It's a barber shop there or something, you know." And I said, "You sure? You know, you looked at the right number and everything?" "Yeah," she says, "it's a barber shop." So after work, I came down and checked things out, looked at the ad, and I could see that, you know, that there was a barber shop in there. So the wind-up is that I found out that the information that the guy had a record, and he just had that nice pawnbroker ad in the book, and I could take advantage of that because it was like a couple of $100 a month just to have this ad in there, and it was just going to go, you know, down the drain.
The building was vacant.
And then the barber was moving out.
Wow.
So everything worked out, everything clicked just right, you know. And so we opened up, and what happened after that?
So Alice and Marty were already.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
All
yeah.
three kids we had
Yeah.
all three kids, yeah. And we really enjoyed it for 16 years. And the girls in the beauty parlor next door said, oh, they won't be there for more than 3 months.
Yeah.
16 years later, we had tears in our eyes saying goodbye to them.
They hated to see us go too, but we had to go. Patty went to the doctor for a routine physical. They saw a little thing on her lung. They said, we got to go in and find out what it is. It looks like it could be maybe cancer, 50-50. So they go in, they cut open from here to there. They go in, they remove this
Benign tumor.
benign tumor from her upper left lobe of her lung, and sent it to the lab, and it was not cancerous. But the doctor said, you got to get her out of the LA basin because some people are very smog sensitive, and she was one of them.
And what's the story on your back? I don't know. You have how did that happen?
Oh, well, childhood injuries. I had to have
And then,
back
but then
surgery.
and that happened when you were a child. You had something put in your back.
For stainless steel. No, not
That yeah, that's what.
Oh, okay. Well, I had that when the kids were real young. Let me see. I think,
Real little.
yeah, real little. I think
Was it a car accident though that made you have?
Well, I had my first operation, and they fixed my back, and then
They put 4 screws,
Yeah.
stainless steel screws about that long.
Had to be
in
like
a
the
small
early
part of her
60s.
back.
yeah, and then after that.
Before you
surgery-
had kids.
Oh no, I
No,
had
after.
the
Okay.
kids.
It was like, what, the early 60s or mid 60s?
Yeah.
About 1961
Mid-60s, yeah.
or something,
Mhm.
Yeah.
62. So Marty was just a tiny baby. And then a year after that, I was in a bad accident
Yeah.
with my girlfriend. And some lady on drugs ran into the car and broadsided us. So I had to go back in, and they had to redo everything. And I had less than 50% chance to walk again, but I'm fine because I keep moving.
Yeah, you had the back and the lung thing, and I always hear that, and then that's why you were real active, but you were always, that didn't make you exercise. You were,
Oh,
you
no,
exercised,
I
you
was
were
always athletic.
Yeah, she belonged to Jack LaLanne's gyms for years.
Ever since I've been a young kid, I was a tomboy.
Mm-hmm.
The lung thing didn't happen
After,
until we were in high school.
Yeah, after the car accident,
What
the doc-
what happened when Eddie was in kindergarten? A health thing.
That's when I had to have a hysterectomy.
Oh.
Yeah, but
No, it couldn't have been.
No? Something I remember a story of Eddie telling about.
Oh,
how he
that
was
was
so upset.
that was the car accident.
Yeah, that was
That's
the car
when
accident.
all the little ones in kindergarten drew pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just a side note, I don't mean to sidetrack you, but
Yeah.
I remembered, I just dawned on me that I remembered asking my grandparents about health histories, like how did their parents die and whatnot, because health histories are really important to know for future generations to know what runs in your family.
oh, that's right. A good thing for me to tell Derek, if you're watching me 20 years from now, I'm just, if I stand up real straight, I'm 6 feet, right about. But I sort of slouch a little bit, so I'm under 6 feet by about that much. I weigh 182 pounds right now, and I'm 72, and I'm going to be 73 September 17th, 2001. That's about another 6 months from now. I'll be 73. And I've had a four-way heart bypass in 1994. 7 months after that, we were in an auto accident. 3 teenage girls came across the freeway right over the divider and smacked into us head on. And Patty's heart was damaged, and one of the valves, and I come out of it okay. The girls were not hurt at all. I tried to swerve a little bit at the last moment, and that was saved them. And
Your health history.
What?
My
Yeah.
health is- yeah.
Or your parents? I mean, what? How did your parents live a long time, or did they die young, or? I mean, what? I mean, just any things that run in the
Yeah.
family, kind of thing.
um,
Heart disease, right? I mean,
yeah, heart disease
your
is not, yeah, it's
brothers,
a bummer.
or
Yeah, in my
Pretty
family,
prominent in your family.
yeah.
so
And
that's the big thing.
Your dad died
And my dad died from
heart, and your mom,
My mother died, from heart at 75. or more.
75.
Yeah.
And your dad died about 56 or
Way
8.
way too young. And
Yeah.
he died, what, 48 or 58? 58.
And,
Yeah,
brothers
I
and
think it was
sisters.
56.
Didn't you
My
have
twin
a?
brother died far too young.
Real young,
we were
right?
just 50 of a
He was just
first
50
and
years
only
old.
heart attack.
So that's the main thing.
And Uncle
Yeah.
Walter died of a heart attack.
And my brother, Walter, died of a heart attack.
There's diabetes.
And my
in
Uncle
the
Bill
family.
died of a heart attack. And Bill's son, my cousin,
Who had
Uh,
diabetes?
died of a heart attack too. And he died very young. He died at about
28.
20, I don't
Oh,
know,
my
25,
goodness.
something like
So,
that.
yeah,
Billy,
Billy,
Oh, Billy, yeah.
And
Yeah.
Eddie
He was
says most
27
people,
years old.
27.
27, huh?
Mm-hmm.
most of them had one heart attack and that was it.
Uh-huh.
There
Yeah.
was no.
Yeah.
There was, yeah.
But
Like you.
Billy was very chunky, I guess you could
Yeah,
say.
he was very heavily
Yeah.
Football
built. Yeah.
built, you know, the big
Yeah.
man.
And he was a football player.
And he
Anyway,
had strong symptoms before he died, too.
yes, his face used to get
tell-
red.
You used to tell Ed
Yeah.
that he was a heart attack waiting to happen. I just sensed it.
Anyway, there's definite heart disease on both sides of,
But now-
of
Your
us.
diabetes?
Your
Huh?
mom has diabetes, right, Mom?
Diabetes?
Aunt Ronnie has diabetes. My
No,
sister
no.
Ron.
No, she doesn't have diabetes.
She doesn't have. I thought she had diabetes.
No, she had high blood pressure.
High
Oh
blood
no,
pressure,
you're
that's
thinking
right,
of
yeah.
Dave, right? Dave has.
Dave got high.
Dave has,
Diabetes,
her
yeah.
husband Dave.
And
Uncle
what else
Ed
can I
had-
say about my health?
had diabetes.
Did your mom have diabetes, Dad?
No.
Don't
Who,
remember.
who were you
Uncle
saying,
Ed
Patty?
Uncle Ed had
Uncle Ed.
diabetes.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
And my dad had
Yeah,
diabetes.
yeah, right. So there's diabetes on both
And not a
sides.
lot of cancer, different cancers from different.
No.
My mother had breast cancer.
Oh, you
But
might have that
that did not kill her at all. It
Mhm.
was the slowest form of cancer.
Yeah.
So that really didn't.
And yours is a cancer now that's,
Yeah, what I've got, what was discovered up in, let's see, 1997, I had elevated IgM, immunoglobulin M. They finally diagnosed it at Stanford University Hospital as Waldenstrom's macroglobulinemia. It's a cancer of the blood, extremely rare, very rare.
okay.
And the prognosis is roughly about 5 years. I think my clock started ticking when symptoms show. I was not symptomatic until last July 2nd, when I got a real bad feeling in the center of my chest. That was the first symptom indication of Waldenstrom's that I had.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take such a big side note, but you know how it's neat to know, I mean, how doctors always ask you your family.
oh
health
yeah,
history.
yeah, it's good for anybody who comes after me to know what's in
Right,
the background.
right.
You know?
Okay, yeah, can I get back? Can I, did you want to say something else?
No. go ahead.
Because you said the 16 years and then you were already done with the pawn shop, but we skipped like all those. I wanted you guys to describe your house when the kids were little.
No, go ahead.
The house?
The house, the yard,
The house,
everything.
The pool,
we
the
bought the house in 1955.
bomb shelter.
And we got it on the GI Bill. GI Bill was a government project that helped soldiers when they got out of service to buy homes with low down payment. And but you had to have some money. Between the time we were married and the time we got the house, Patty was working. I was working
Making the
on
big
and off,
bucks,
you
yeah.
know. And one day she comes home, bingo, we've got $1,000. She saved it on the side. Anyway, what we did, we put a down payment on this house.
You saved it without telling them?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
$13,050. That's what that
That's how
house
much the house cost.
$13,050.
And the $1,000 down, you might as well have said it was $1 million. It
Yeah.
just seemed an impossible thing to do.
To save that much money.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, frugal, very frugal.
What I did was write a little phony check is what it was. I had the money, but I wrote a real cute little check out and I put a little Cupid sticker on it and put it on your pillow or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So we
it was
had the
our
money.
anniversary anyway. I said, here's the money for our house.
Oh.
So we got the house.
So you were renting when the
bedroom.
kids were. No,
Yeah.
you had the kids after you bought the house.
Oh, yeah.
So you were
Yeah.
just renting.
Right after
renting.
we bought the
Yeah, we had
house,
it.
it was in a few months.
About-
Were you
yeah,
pregnant?
About
Were-
a year after.
You weren't
we had the
pregnant when you
house.
bought the house, because they say that nesting thing
No.
happens.
No,
You
I
didn't get
wasn't.
pregnant till you worked at
Soon
the-
after though.
Yeah.
Yes, when
A lot of women get when I first got pregnant. That's when I really got the bug bad to buy a house, and people were saying it's that nesting thing.
It is. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well,
Yeah.
you're right. That's exactly what it was.
So I went to work, and that's when I became pregnant and was feeling funny and kind of passed out at work. Oh.
You're working for the country club.
Was the house in pretty good shape when you bought it, or you did
Brand
you
new.
did a lot?
Brand new. Yeah,
Oh
he's
wow!
brand new.
Wow!
Brand new. It was a big thrill.
2 bedrooms. Describe the house.
2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms,
Den.
a nice big. Yeah. Well, we used.
Living room
Uh-huh.
and like a den area, but it was pretty
The
big.
den
But we
became
used
our
our
bedroom.
bedroom.
The
Master
three.
bedroom.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say the 3 kids shared a room.
Yeah, and the kids had the 2 bedrooms. And it worked out just fine,
Yeah,
you know.
and nice big lot. And later on, we bought a swing.
Yeah, she went to the doctor and she had the operation, you know, after her back problem.
and we were paying babysitter. We figured out we paid babysitter to watch the kids while she went to the gym because she had to exercise.
Yeah.
And that didn't seem too hot a deal, you know.
Yeah.
So what I did was I went and had a pool put in the backyard.
Well, that was because Marty was sick too, and he
because,
needed
yeah,
it.
mostly
with his-
because you.
Yeah.
But you still would need somebody to watch the kids while you swam in the pool, didn't
Oh
you?
no, because she keeps an eye on, you know.
How do you swim in? I don't know how
We're
you do
big
that,
enough.
Jared.
No, hey, you'd come home at night and I'd.
And you
Oh,
do
yeah.
okay, you'd watch them.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
But she'd be in the pool with them and my sister.
Yeah,
in
playing in the
afternoon,
daytime,
you know,
yeah.
and, she that was the best. We got the best work out of that pool
It
ever.
was good, yeah, it was good for Marty too because he was
Yeah.
so sick.
We utilized that pool. We got every nickel out of it. It cost $5,000. It was a lot of money.
And the kids all loved it. They really, really used it. Really used it.
Music
The
great.
payments were $50 a month for 10 years.
Wow.
Oh, and I cried. I thought we were never gonna. When he started putting it in, I got panicky. We're never gonna be able to make the payments. Remember that?
Yeah. Anyway,
So then you had a den. The den was your bedroom, and then there was the garage that was.
oh yeah.
Was it the garage that was the playroom?
Oh yeah. We turned the garage into a playroom, and that was a great playroom.
What did it look like?
Great playroom, Alice. Yeah.
Player piano.
Play a piano, pool table, one of those little bar tables.
And we had every kid in the block at our house because
Yeah.
Every
One arm
music-
bandit
so much
when it was
fun.
illegal.
Musical instrument.
But you know, of all the kids that came in that playroom, none of them ever ratted on me, not even to their parents or anything, that I had a one-armed bandit in there. Never said a word.
Well, they knew what would
Wasn't that
happen.
We even had a
Yeah,
roulette wheel.
roulette
Roulette
wheel. You know, genuine roulette wheel.
And how it was painted neat too. The
Oh yeah, the interior door to the garage when it was down. Since we were going to make it through, we dropped the door down and put wallboard across the back of the door. And a friend of ours, Marty, came over and put with iridescent
Paint.
paint. You can, if you put a green light, a blue light on it, or black light, you turn the black light on it, it glowed. It was just magnificent. Wasn't that great? A great
Yeah.
scene.
Beautiful.
Really neat.
Yeah, South Sea Island
And he
Sea.
put an octopus on the outside of the garage.
Yeah,
with big eyelashes. Little lady octopus.
she was a ninopus. Yeah, 9
Ninopus,
tentacles.
and
Yeah,
9 instead of 8. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway.
did you have to get permits back then to do that, or not?
That was no big deal.
I
It's
think
just closing the
nowadays you
door.
have to. You can't do
Oh,
that.
plus, tell them about your bomb shelter you put in.
Well,
What year was that?
uh,
Oh my.
when we had trouble with Castro
Early 70s maybe.
in Cuba, they brought in missiles. The Russians brought missiles into Cuba, and there was a big scare on that we might be facing third war. And what happened was, once they brought the missiles in, our satellites and our stuff, we had overflights and we recorded them, and they told the president what was over there, and we had a head-to-head with Khrushchev. And what I did was, I decided right next to the pool, you know, down from the pool, to put a bomb shelter in. And I had the pawn shop by then, and what I would do, I had all kinds of workers coming in. They'd buy tools, some people would sell, some people would buy, you name it, everything under the sun. But I had guys come in who worked for concrete companies. And a lot of times when these contractors have a job to do, the last thing they want is 20 of their workers standing around doing nothing when they order short on the concrete. So they always order more than they actually need. Better to throw away the concrete than have 20 guys standing around doing nothing and having to pay them for 2 hours, waiting for concrete to be delivered. So they'd order more than they needed. And sometimes a whole truck full they'd order, and they didn't even need it. But it made more sense to have a truckload of it than have the guys standing around doing nothing. So they told me, I said, what do you do with it? They said they bring it back and they just dump it, and I said, well, I got a place to dump it. I'll work you a deal. I trade you a drill, like half-inch drill. The guy said, yeah. He says, fine and dandy. Probably had maybe $5 in the drill that I lent somebody for, and they never come picked it up. And these guys would come by with their truck and say, I got a full load. And I'd run over, close the store real quick like, and be back in 3.5 minutes. And now that used to drive the people nuts. They come to the door and they see, back in 3.5 minutes. And I'd be gone, maybe gone for an hour and a half. Anyway, I'd go down to the house, which is just about 1.5 miles away, and the cement truck would go in, and I'd had everything all ready for him, and dump it into
It was underground?
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
sure.
He ended up having 57 yards of
Oh, yeah.
cement.
There was 6 feet of even more than that.
What was the address? I wonder if it's still there. I'm just wondering in the
Oh,
future if
yeah.
somebody
Oh, yes.
comes.
Oh, it has to be there.
10441 Series
10447 series.
Okay.
Anyway,
Oh, 7, yes.
Yes, 10447.
you guys forget where you live? Shame on you. Anyway, the windup
That was
is...
Ray Daly's address.
Yeah. Oh, that's where you spent your time, huh?
Okay, what was the pawn shop's phone number? I know it.
What?
9415157.
Yeah. Yeah, I never called my own numbers.
Yeah, there you go, yeah.
Anyway, the windup is that I got this thing constructed for very little money. Most expensive item that I got was a corrugated steel underpass. It was like that, and it was corrugated this way.
Yeah.
And it was better than the 1/4 inch thick, maybe 3/8 of an inch in thickness. And
And that was our ceiling.
that was our ceiling. And
then we had the inside painted, the ceiling.
Alice put clouds up
You
on the
painted
top.
them?
Yeah, big
It was
clouds.
real
Yeah.
neat. She did a beautiful job.
And
So on
That-
those long nights when you're sitting in
Clouds
there
in
with
the sky, yeah.
I often thought 100 years from now, somebody's going to run into that shelter.
But they still use
And-
it. Who has it?
Yeah, whoever got it. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
they do.
Well, it made a
They're
pretty
gonna
good
run it.
dark room.
What?
Oh, and
Yeah.
fun for kids,
There was so much
The
concrete.
kids loved it.
I would, you guys should talk to the people that live there now, because I mean, if I lived in that house now, I'd go, man, I'd want to talk to the man that made this shelter. You
Wouldn't that be
know?
cool?
True.
You know, I had people come by. I had an attorney come by. He heard that I had built a bomb shelter. He wanted to do one himself, And he came by and I showed him what I did. And he said, what contractor? And I said, I'm the contractor. I didn't pull no permits or anything for it. I got that bomb. I'm so nothing. God, the county would have really went after me, if they would have ever knew about that.
You think?
Yeah.
Don't tell me I'm in real
Yeah,
estate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They're gonna get you now.
I made the thing for a very small amount of money, but a corrugated underpass cost me $400. That was a lot of money. Now I'm up to where? We're up to.
Well, we skip so much too. I mean,
know.
I'm always curious about the pregnancies and the childbirth and all that kind of thing too.
Oh, when Eddie was going to be born.
You're gonna talk about the childbirth?
Yeah, Eddie's going to be born. We had a few little scares, She said, I think I want to go. No.
Oh,
yeah.
this is funny.
And she said, this is it. A couple of days later, this is it. This is really it. I said, okay, fine, honey. I know it is now. She says, But I got to take a shower. You got to take a shower? I said, come on, they don't care about you taking a shower. She would not leave for that hospital until she took a shower. Is the baby gonna come? You know, the baby's almost there. So she goes in, she insisted on taking a shower. I finally get her out into the car, and I'm sipping down, and I hit, you know those dippies in the road? And her head went boom, and hit the top of the car. Anyway, like I wasn't nervous or anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, we get to the hospital, she goes in. Next thing I know, I got a bouncing baby boy.
Isn't that the one?
Yeah.
Isn't that the story? Is it Eddie? This is the story that you told the doctor it was a girl, or
No,
Oh, no,
that
no,
was,
no.
that was, this is, yeah,
No.
that
Okay.
was
That
later.
was-
that's
was
later?
some
Okay,
Jimmy.
okay.
And I knew. I said, it's going to be a boy. I told the doctor,
But
it's
see,
going to be
this
a boy.
was Christmas night, and my Aunt Eva and Uncle Ollie were there with us. And Uncle Ollie was just timing the labor.
Timing the
It
labor
was so
things,
cute,
yeah.
and, you know, it was just 2 minutes apart and so on and so forth, and we're off we go. Well, anyway, 18 hours later, the
Oh
next day
my
we had Eddie.
gosh!
But it wasn't Christmas, and the doctor was really irritated because he was right there, and the nurse called the doctor, and it was Christmas night, and he comes tearing down, and he said, "Where's the baby?" "Well, we don't know what happened to the baby."
Got
The
sucked back
baby
up.
decided to go back
He
up.
didn't want out
He
yet.
didn't want out yet.
Yeah.
Oh, 18
hours later.
hours.
Mhm.
And the wind up is that Eddie enters the world then.
Yeah.
And
Alice was a sweetheart. She was 2.5 years later. We
Yeah.
had Alice, and he predicted that he was going to have a little
it's a
girl.
girl.
And then he also named Eddie, and then he named Alice.
Yeah.
Right? And by this time, the doctor's a little irritated at him because he knows exactly.
I'm calling shots, see.
Calling the shots.
They couldn't tell whether it was a boy or a girl
No.
in them days.
And
you
the
know.
doctor's name was?
Dr. Bibb.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Bibb.
Love that.
And with Alice, they gave me shots. 1 shot every 15 minutes.
Do you know of what?
5 shots to induce labor.
Oh.
Because they didn't want the problem that I had with Eddie going
Ah.
down the birth canal and
Uh-huh.
going back up. So she was a good birth. She was just fine. Beautiful baby. And every time we'd take her out, even though she hardly had any hair at all, I'd carry her into the drugstore or whatever. And just the way that she was in my arms or Daddy's arms, everybody would say, "What a beautiful baby girl." Just knew it was a baby girl. She's like
And you know,
this.
it's
How
really
weird.
funny. This is really funny about Alice. She instinctively knew when a man was around
That's right.
because she got very, very feminine,
Yes.
didn't she?
Yes. Right from
She
the
was
get-go.
little Miss Cutesy. Women would come around,
Yeah, whatever.
big deal, you know. But a man come on the scene, oh, little charmer, you know. Yeah, she really was. That was funny,
And
wasn't
it's
that?
good. She was a good.
And I
baby.
said, how does she know
Yeah.
the difference between a man and a woman?
Yeah.
She knew.
But then what did you used to buy me, Dad, all the time? When I was a baby? The little ruffly.
Oh, yeah,
Ruffle
yeah.
pants.
I used to buy her little
For the
little
telephone?
clothes, yeah.
When I had her, he went out and bought this beautiful pink little dress that you could have picked it up like this on the sides,
Yeah.
all ruffles and
Beautiful.
ruffled panties.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And
she's
her
little Miss-
christening dress,
Yeah.
he just went nuts. Just nuts over it.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Marty's turn to get born. I told the doctor, it's a boy. The birth comes. I didn't know it was happening, but you tell him.
Oh, so Dr. Bibb says, "Damn that Ed, he's always right. Now I want you girls," he's talking to the nurses, "to wrap him in such a way that he doesn't even notice his plumbing. And you put a pink blanket on this baby, and you tell him that it's a girl." And so
They wrapped the boys in blue and the girls in pink.
I'm in and so I knew what was going on. And so they bring the baby in the room, and Ed's in the room, and they said, "Congratulations, Ed, you've got a beautiful baby girl. Look at her." So that he couldn't see anything.
Yeah, it did so fast I couldn't really see the plumbing, you
And
know.
he said, "Oh, for goodness sake.
I couldn't believe I was
Oh,
around.
how nice." He's trying to, and he's really surprised, you know. And the doctor's running down the hallway, just laughing his guts out. And finally, I couldn't stand it any longer. I said, yeah, it's really a boy. He runs out in the hallway, the doctor's laughing. You're always right, darling.
I think you knew Derek was a boy too.
Yeah.
How do you know?
I don't know. You just know. Anyway, it was really funny. It was so funny that they almost got me. You know, I was just I couldn't believe I made a mistake.
So now obviously you named Eddie after you.
Yeah.
Now tell us how
where
you
did
named
Alice and
the
Marty?
other two.
God,
Tell
isn't
us.
he lucky?
You lucky guy.
I tell you.
How did you name Alice Alice? So I was going to name her Allison, Allison. Or,
Well, she looked like an Alice.
You named her. You didn't think of it until after she was born.
I thought it was somebody you knew that. No?
the song Alice Blue Gown you used to.
I still got that.
I know.
I still got, you know, oh, the playroom we're talking about, that we turned the garage into the playroom, also had a player piano in it. And I had a whole bunch of different roles. And one of the roles is Alice Blue Gown.
And you used to play it for her all
Yeah, I
the
used to
time.
play it for you.
Yeah.
And then
So
Marty,
you
did
know,
Marty,
Marty
after
came
the guy
along.
that painted the garage, after your friend? You said
No.
you had a friend named, no.
No,
Met him
we just
after.
decided to call him. We were going to call him. We had quite a few names.
Yeah,
Martin Allen was. There was a reason for that.
yeah, but I forget
And
what
it's
it was.
Martin, his name's Martin.
Martin, yeah.
Martin
yeah.
Allen.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, I don't know how much longer we're gonna be
yeah,
able to
it's
keep
getting-
Derek in the other room. We might have to,
yeah, he should be sleeping, be ready to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to stop now?
Anyway, what we're doing, we filmed, Sunshine's doing this at our place at 225 Ocean Avenue in Cayucas.
Yeah, because I want to.
We're
30.
above the store.
I want to hear all about. I want you to talk all about too how much you bought this place for, and you know how many, you know
Yeah.
all that. We haven't even
We're
got
above
there
the
yet.
store,
So.
and
Thanks so
it's March 20th
First day of
at
spring.
8:30 in evening, 2001.
And the reason we have to stop is because
We
I
don't-
don't know where we left off. You know, we might want to do, you know, I don't know, the jewelry and whatever notes you have and stuff, because as far as where we left off, Patty, it would be good for that to be when Patty's going to be with you. You know, because you're going to talk about the kids growing up and everything. You know? And this in my.
It's,
here, let me.
let's see what I talked about. I don't remember where we were up to. Probably some really good part of my life, you know, some really neat thing happened. I think Patty met me, that's what it was. God, she was so lucky. I don't know where I let off for sure, but I'll talk about some of the jewelry that I got for her. Being a pawnbroker, you got sort of access to jewelry at real cool prices. And this, let's see, I need a nice little background.
Yeah,
So
I
you
can.
see this.
Yeah, I can even just zoom. You don't even have to get up.
So,
Let's see, maybe not.
this is Patty's watch.
Here.
Then I got her name on the dial, and I got diamond band and everything on it.
I don't know if
But she never wears it. She wears a little black, what have I got? Movado, a little black Movado, sort of like what I got on here. And she never wears this beautiful diamond watch. That's a shame.
And you just got it because somebody left it and then never picked it up.
This one I made up. I got a nice watch. This had originally, when it came in the pawn shop, it had a black cord band on it.
Max is a slobber and a
We're
half.
recording.
And it didn't have
Let me see it.
it didn't have diamonds
Where's that black thing?
on the upper. Here. It didn't have diamonds on the upper and lower part of the watch, and I had them put on. I didn't set them myself, but I had them put on. And
I don't know. I can't really get it.
And oh, this is cool. This is cool.
Oh yeah.
This pendant I got from a trash man that came in the store. It's made in Germany, and it's silver, and it has marcasites on it. And I think it cost me $5 if I'm not mistaken. I really shelled out for that one.
$5.
Yeah. And here's another thing I got for her. I got a bezel. This is a $5 gold piece. I got a bezel. That's that thing that holds the coin. And I had a diamond put in the top there. And this is a nice 18 karat gold chain. I like this. This looks really cute on Petty. Really, really neat. And next, when I was leaving the pawn shop, and I was sort of on the way up to Cayucas here, as a closing bye-bye gift from Whittier to come up here, Patty gets me, of all the things in the world, she gets me this loop. It's a 14 carat buyer's loop. That's what it is. It's 14 power also. And I thought to myself, God, I could have used it for 10 years earlier,
yeah.
you know. But I'm going out and
Yeah.
I'm selling the pawn shop,
Yeah.
you know. I'm getting out. And then now she gets it for me. It's really nice. It's beautifully engraved, and it has a nice gold chain on it. 18 karat gold chain. It's an antique chain. But this, the loop is not. But that's what she got for me.
I'm gonna pause it for just a second because I want to.
Sure. Now this next piece of jewelry, my sister just hates it. We went out to dinner one night, and I had it on, and she looked at it, and she saw it was an emerald, and she says, "Oh, I love it, I love it," because this her birthstone. And I said, well, you can't have it just yet because I want to wear it around. And she said, where did you get it? I told her where I got it. And this is kind of interesting. One night, about 5:30, about a half hour before I usually close the pawn shop, I get a call on the phone, and the guy says, oh, you're there. Wait. I'm on the way. And bang, he slams the phone down. I didn't get a chance to ask him what he wanted. 15 minutes later, the phone rings again. Wait for me, I'm almost there. Bang. I didn't get another chance to ask the guy what he wanted. I figured maybe it was somebody, it was like Saturday night, that had to go work Monday, and maybe I had his box of tools in pawn, and he needed the tools to go to work. And I figured, geez, I can't leave, you know. It really goofed the guy up. He phoned another time. Wait, I'm almost there. Bang. Don't get a chance to say anything to him. Well, it stretched out to about 7 o'clock. Finally, the great big black guy walks in. And I said, oh boy. It wasn't a black neighborhood. I said, this doesn't sound too swift. So he walks up to the counter, and I looked to see if he had any buddies with him behind him. He was by himself. So I said, what can I do for you? He said, oh, am I glad you waited. He said, those other pawnbrokers there, he said, they all close up, bang, like that. And I said, I didn't know what you wanted. So he says, I'm in trouble. I need some money. So I said, oh, jeez. I said, I've had a pile of loans I made today. I wish I would have had a chance to talk to you, and I tell you, you know, that I can't handle anything. I said, I just about let everything out. Saturday night. I said, everybody needs money. So he said, oh, don't say that to me, man. Don't say that to me. So he slipped off the ring. He says, that little ring, he said, I had that custom made, special just for me. So he says, I'll tell you, man, he said, I gotta get some money. He said, they just overturned my Cadillac on Central Avenue. Central Avenue in LA is the heart of the Black District. And he says they torched it. They stole my stable. His stable meant his girls. He was a pimp. And he says, I intended to steal another guy's stable. And he says, but things didn't work out that way. And he says, tables got turned. He says, they're after my tail. He says, I gotta go. He said, I'm headed up to San Francisco. I don't think he was headed there, but that's what he was telling me anyway. And no matter where this kind of guy goes, these are survivors. These kind of, bad dudes. So I reached my cash drawer, I pulled it over and I showed it. I said, look, I'm straight with you, man. All I got in there is like $40. Oh, wow, he just about had a fit. He said, what the hell can I do with $40? I said, I wish you would have told me what you wanted on the damn phone. He thought about it, thought about it. He said, okay, man. He pushed the ring toward me. He says, it's yours. So he says, I'm going to miss that. He says, I used to get up there to my little honeys. He said, get your little white butt out there and bring daddy back some money. He says, it was real sharp. He says, it was real dull now, but really sharp. And he says, he used to scare. I wouldn't do that. He said, you don't kill your merchandise. And he said, I get up there and he scratch a little bit on the face, He said, they got the picture. That's it, and then out they go. He says, okay, it's yours, man. And that was it. That's how I got it. And when I told my sister the story, that the ring came from my pants, she just about died. And she hated it. So every time we went to dinner after that, I'd make sure that I'd slip this thing on. And sometime during dinner, I'd sort of have my hand on the table, or she couldn't miss it. And she'd scream and yell. All kinds of hell. That's been a fun ring for me for a lot of years.
And he never came back to get it. That's amazing.
Oh, no, he sold that outright to me. It wasn't a pawn.
Ooh.
No, he had no intention of getting it back.
Wow.
Yeah. And this, I got Patty for our 25th anniversary.
Why don't you put that black thing behind
Little
it? 'Cause your
diamond heart.
White shirt.
Surrounded by a bunch of little diamonds. And I have a hard time getting her even to wear this. I don't
Yeah.
know if you see that or not. Can you see that?
Yeah.
You can see it there.
Well, let me work on that. Here, put it down. Since I have this on the tripod, I don't have as much. Okay.
Right up there.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, that's what I got.
She doesn't. Okay, go ahead.
I have a hard time getting her to wear it.
Well, she doesn't wear it because it's just so.
Huh?
It's so like much, don't you think? I mean, it's
Well,
like.
Not really,
I mean, I think she wears that and everybody goes, "Wow!"
Yeah.
It's pretty
anyway,
amazing.
she likes that. She likes that, but she won't wear it. She would like a
And-
watch.
You got it.
Beautiful
You got
watch.
it through the pawn shop.
Yeah, got that through the pawn shop, and then I got other
Who's
stuff.
that?
Like,
Yeah.
Like this is my watch. That one.
Looks just
This was
like
definitely a
the
hot
boy.
watch. No question about it.
It's a what? Oh, hot
It
one.
was a hot watch,
Yeah.
yeah. This one was, for sure. Yeah, I wound up with that little devil from one of my really good customers. He owned a cardboard manufacturing company. He used to make cardboard boxes. Pretty good business. And he used to like to buy in pawn shops. That's how I got to know him. And he eventually It took him about 20 years, but he eventually got his own pawn shop. And I got that from him. And this is a little, it's kind of hard to show. It's a little hummingbird, 18 karat gold, and it got beautiful little pearl pearl feathers on it, wings.
Mhm.
Cute little thing. And it got a little red ruby eye. An excellent little piece of jewelry. Anyway, but I got to get Patty to wear it, but she's had it for like a jillion years and I can't get her to wear it. And she's got lots of other jewelry too. All kinds of little stuff here.
And her wedding ring is there? How did you get that? The one she wears now.
Oh, the one she wears now? I got that from a dealer. I traded him a bunch of small stones. The center stone is a carat and 10, and I forget what the other stones are. There's some tapered baguettes and there's some regular baguettes.
And the other ring? Oh, go ahead.
And center stone, I think, is a carat and 10, if I remember right. I traded a bunch of little small stuff for that, and she's had that for a lot of years.
The other ring she wears, didn't somebody find that in the garbage can?
Which one does she wear?
The ruby and diamond one?
Oh, the ruby? No. I got that from a girl. That was in pawn. That was actually pawned for $25. And I looked at that ruby and I figured, hey, you're never going to wind up with this. She's going to get this back. Well, she probably stole it from her grandmother, I guess. But the 6 months went by. I sent my notice out. I waited 30 days after that, and even 10 days beyond that. So legally, then it became mine to do it as I pleased. So I gave it to Patty.
Yeah.
So I didn't think
I thought there was some neat piece of jewelry that Patty had that a garbage man found in the garbage can.
Oh no, that was this.
Oh, okay.
That was the garbage man, yeah.
Okay.
Where's that thing?
Okay,
This
yeah.
is cool. She
yeah.
likes that. Everybody loves that.
And he found it in the garbage.
Yeah. Somebody threw it away. They didn't like it. Who knows? But it's really nice.
And her original wedding ring?
Alice got that.
She has it, but how did
It's only a 10-pointer.
did you work? How did you get it? That was before the pawn shop, right?
No, I got it in the pawn shop that I eventually wound up working in.
Oh, okay.
Tucker Loan and Jewelry.
Okay.
On Whittier in Arizona, in East Los Angeles. I worked there for about 11 years. Then went to work for another pawnbroker in Norwalk for about a year. And then from there, opened up my own store in Newark on Telegraph Road. That was fun.
Yeah.
Now what else would anybody want to know about me?
What did we talk about? Something we might want.
It's up there in the box.
Okay. Do you have a happiest moment you can think of for your adult life?
God, I have had so many happy moments. I can't even pinpoint anything in particular.
that's hard.
It's real hard. I've had a very good, happy life. Yeah, no complaints there.
Yeah. Anything about religion you want to talk about?
Religion? I believe in God, no question about that. And it didn't take me too long to come to that conclusion on my own. Because everywhere you look, somebody made something. There's a maker for everything.
Right.
And no matter what you can think of, somebody made it, And I figured, hey, there's got to be a maker for us too. Can't see him.
Yeah. No.
But he's there. And I believe in God. And Patty asked me the best book
Yeah.
that I've ever read. Well, when I was about 11, just over past 11, I started to read the Bible. And I didn't want anybody to know I was reading the Bible, because it was, you know, I didn't want to be pointed out as a holy Joe. So I sort of snuck my reading on the side. And I read the Bible. It was a very, very fascinating book. And I advise everybody to go through the Bible. It's very helpful in life, tremendously helpful. And I found out that in reading the Bible, you can interpret a whole lot of the Bible to meet your particular desires at the moment. And I found that other people interpreted the Bible differently. It's very fascinating if you really go through it. And I was so young, I was only 11. By the time I was 12, on my 12th birthday, I went to Central Park in New York City. And I was up on the top of a hill, just contemplating my existence on my birthday, you know. And I have a lot of respect for 12-year-olds, because it was my 12th birthday. And what I did on top of that hill, I just lay back and look up at the sky and look at all around me. And I formed a philosophy of life. If you could picture that, a 12-year-old doing something like this. I was there for 6, 7 hours, just thinking about my past life, what I've been through, and what I was going to do with myself from then on. And I haven't deviated much at all from what I formulated at 12 years old. So when I hear a 12-year-old say something to me, I listen. I listen to 2-year-olds. but you know, when someone's that age, I know they can think independently. They can formulate thoughts properly. And I have a respect for their opinion and what they have to say. So that, to me, the Bible would be the best book to start out with. And
what kinds of philosophies on living that do you believe in? I mean, as far as things you came up with then.
I told myself that I would never get to be a liar. I would tell the truth 99% of the time. I was being realistic.
Right.
99 is pretty high.
Right.
And I knew that once you get the reputation, you get caught in a lie, and people say, oh, Ed the liar. You can tell the truth the whole rest of your life, and they always remember you as Ed the liar, and they question whatever you have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get stuck with it, you can never get rid of it. And I was observant enough to realize that, just by watching the people around me. When someone would lie or say something, and I'd hear someone say, oh, he always lies, and I knew it was the truth. And I thought, wow, I know he's telling the truth, but he must have told a lie before, nobody believes him anymore. And I found out that to be an absolute fact. So I knew that I would never put myself in a position where I could tell a lie and get caught at it. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized there's very few times when you can't be caught at telling a lie. Somewhere, somehow, it comes out in the wash. And I've seen it proved time and time again. So it's important, it was important to me to have people believe what I had to say. So that is one thing I based my life on, so be very honest. And other things, respect women. At 12, I had seen things where men didn't appreciate the women that they had. And they abused and disregarded their opinions and what they had to say. They were second class. And I didn't like that. I just did not like that. And even to this day, I mean, I'm talking 60 years later, I still see it all over the world. Women are subjugated to a lesser position than a man. And I have never seen that, never liked it, and I feel that we are on an equal par. I formed that in my mind, that I was always have respect for women. God, did that pay off great. And little Derek now, he likes women too. He loves ladies. And I went to the bank today, and the girl who got the counter says, I have a 6-month-old baby. And she says, ooh, your name is Ed Frawley. She said, are you related to? I said, yes, that's my son, Ed. He owns Central Coast Music. And she said, oh, your little grandson was in here, and he is just a little charmer. And I said, I know. He takes that to his grandpa and his daddy, you know. We all got it, you know. Anyway, it was so much fun listening to her, you know, talk about Derek so much. It was just a kick for me. Patty was waiting outside in the car for me while I was having fun flirting with the girls inside the bank. Anyway, oh, sweetie, you just came in. Bring your arm over here. I want to show. I was talking about your emerald ring. I mean your ruby ring. And just hold your hand up so I don't know whether you can see it or not. Can you see it in there?
Yeah. Down a little bit. Yeah. No, up. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
You see that?
And did you mention her necklace? The pearl?
Oh, this is what she likes more than anything else.
Yeah.
One of my favorite.
This is a freshwater pearl that she's got. And it's one of her favorite pieces of jewelry.
But my very favorite, can I tell them?
What's your favorite?
My very favorite is my tiny heart that
Oh, that's right.
my boyfriend gave
Yeah,
me.
we didn't. I don't think he talked about that one. I'm glad she brought it
That
up.
one right there.
Right here. Oh,
That one.
this I cast myself on her 21st birthday.
Well, wait a minute.
What?
When you got married, you gave me just the heart.
Yes.
When we got married, January 10th, 1953.
Yeah. And I gave it a heart.
It was just a gold heart.
Yeah.
And you gave it to her
And he
for a
made
wedding
it.
And I
present?
cast that myself. I made that heart.
Can't see.
Cast it and made
14
it
karat gold.
himself. And that was my wedding present.
And
There we go.
Favorite.
and
There
on
we
her
go.
21st birthday, I put a diamond in there.
On her what? 21st?
21st birthday, yeah.
I was just 19 when we got married. And then when I turned 21, what did you do?
You sure you was only 19? You were older than that. I remember when I was a little boy, you said, would you like a piece of candy, little boy? And that's how she robbed the cradle. She stole, you know. I was an innocent baby boy. That's what I was. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Well, we were talking about your big philosophies on life.
Yeah.
Respect
And the
women,
respect for
don't
women,
lie.
yeah. And it was very, very important for me to have respect for women. I'm talking about what how I went to Central Park when I was 12, got up on that hill, and I formed a philosophy of life, you know, and that's why I respect the thinking power of 12-year-olds.
Right.
I don't put them down as
Yeah, just
little
kids.
scatterbrains that don't know what they're talking about. So, and that's what it's about. This second important thing was the respect for women, you know. not telling a lie because you're gonna get caught in it, and have respect for women that are around you. And,
You don't have to go into all, those
I
are a
live-
couple,
yeah, I
but
live-
yeah,
I
I'm
live
sure
it.
there's a lot of
I
it,
live it,
yeah,
there's so
yeah,
many
yeah.
things I just live,
Yeah.
by it. And I've never deviated much from it. I'm still basically the same, same kind of thinking processes I go through as it was when I was 12.
Mhm.
And then as time progressed, you asked me something else. What
On the
was on your
paper,
list there?
oh,
What did you talk about?
if you were to change anything about your life,
Would I change anything? Very little. Very little. I doubt very much if I've changed too much. No, minor things.
what's the most important thing that got you through the most stressful situations?
My own thought processes did that each time. I thought about the stressful situation I was in, and I never went yelling to God, oh, I'm in trouble, help me. No. He gave us the power to reason. And us as American citizens, we've got the power to independently think, which does not exist throughout the world. And I went to myself to answer my difficult problems. A few times in my life, I count on my hand that I did go to God and say, I'm backed in a corner, I got no way out. Show me the way. And he's always right there. And I never did bug him too much. I figured, hey,
He's busy.
he's got lots of stuff. He's busy, And he gave you all this good stuff in your head. Use it.
Yeah.
So I used it, and I came out of my difficulties real good somehow.
The only other thing I see is that who influenced you the most in your life?
Probably my Uncle Bill.
What was he like? He was your mom's brother or your dad's brother?
My dad's brother. He was cool.
He was very, very special.
I think about him, and it brings a tear to my eye, because he was so cool.
That's why you're so cool.
And he was around you your whole life.
Yeah, ever since I was a little kid, he was there. He could do everything. He could build a house. He was a boilermaker for the Southern Pacific Railroad. And when I was 16, I went to work for the Southern Pacific Railroad as a boilermaker's helper. This is when they still had steam engines. And this was at the very, very end of the building of steam engines. After that came diesels. And the time I worked for him was about 6 months, and it was a fun time because I was a super goof-off. I really didn't like the noise of being inside those boilers and bucking rivets. It really, really bugged me. The noise was tough. Even if I stuck my ears with cotton, it still was no good. I could feel it all over. And so I would goof off as much as I could. And I'd sneak away. I'd sleep all through the shift. And sometimes the guys would have to come to wake me up and say, hey, time to go. And being that my uncle was the foreman, nobody ever ratted on me. And he sort of knew I was goofing, but he let me get away with it. So I did that for 6 months. It was the kicks. Anyway, he knew how to do everything. He was a good boilermaker. He was a good, he could build houses. He did a lot of construction work. He did cement work. He was a welder. And if he didn't know something, he would find out where it could So he was never at a complete loss for something. He could always find a way to do it.
And he taught you how to do everything?
He taught me that most everything I know, he taught me. Up until that time, yeah. And unfortunately, lost him at 56 years old.
Ugh.
Heart. And
Tell her about how much fun we had with him and Aunt Catherine.
oh
And the
yeah,
kids
he
and
was
all
so
that.
much fun. Yeah, he was
Did
just
he
good.
have kids of his own?
Yeah, one. And unfortunately, my cousin Billy, he died about at 25 years old. Heart attack too.
Oh,
He inherited bad heart from his dad.
oh, I
He
never
was
heard
watching
that
TV
before.
with his mom and just dropped right over.
Yeah. And
25.
once we're at his heart thing, in 1994, April 1994, I had a 4-way heart bypass.
Right. We
And
We did that, yeah.
anyone in the family should
watch that.
watch their cholesterol, do your exercises,
Yeah.
don't smoke, don't get into drugs. Bad, bad, bad.
Don't lick the butter off your bread before you eat the bread like Derek does.
Yeah, because when it comes to dope, I've had many, many years in the pawn shop. Been exposed to just about every kind of dope addict that you can think of. I exposed Eddie, and Alice, and Marty to these people. And they saw what the end result of getting involved in dope led you to.
They remember too.
Yeah,
Eddie tells me about it.
yeah. And it was a good education. And that's what I would advise. Don't touch it. The only thing that I can't talk about, and that's liquor. I've had my share of it in my life. Not much in the last, I'd say the last about 8-9 months. But previous to that, I put away my share of martinis. Probably enough to, float half a battleship. And 100 proof IW Harper when I was in the pawn shop. And
Tell him about your drinking buddy, Frank.
yeah, my buddy Frank, Patty's twin brother Frank, was in the pawn shop with me, and we used to go and have 3 martini lunches. We'd close the store and go into the bowling alley. They had a nice bar there, and the bartender made superb martinis. And we would have 3 of them before we went back to the store and have our lunch. Anyway, that's another rascal. I was banking on him being Patty's twin brother. In case anything ever happened to me, I could always bank on him to be my insurance policy to take care of.
Yeah.